Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you guys are having a great and exceptional day, great exceptional week. It's a brand new week, new start, so let's get it. Today's word of the day is, because you know me, I always go old school with it when I read it out of the it's intellectualize, to read it out of the dictionary. Intellectualize, to make a rational, to analyze an emotional problem intellectually, so as to avoid more direct confrontation. And I chose this word today because, you know, to analyze the information that one is given so that you can avoid direct confrontation, or to avoid even insulting people, or to appear ignorant, is one of the many traits that a lot of people don't have. Many of the traits that a lot of people don't even want to display, even if they do have it and whatnot, because everybody gets wrapped up in emotional and get wrapped up into being right all the time. That's another thing. Smart people know that they're not right all the time. All right. That's why I laugh at these news pundits, whether it's CNN, Fox News, or it's all the same. Because they make a living off of making everybody think that they really hate each other and they want to argue with each other. When 9 times out of 10, all those people that are on those panels, they live in the same neighborhoods, they're part of the same networks. They, you know, they went to if they went to specific same colleges, you know, they're part of a team. That's the best way to put it. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. You know, the Dallas Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know, the Patriots, you know, they're all a part of a team, and they're all working in a collective effort and whatnot to win, to become the best team that they can be, and to get to the Super Bowl and win and all that, and to win the game and whatnot, from a collective effort, just not from a separatist effort and whatnot. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, you'll see people from the Patriots or the Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys or whatever team, you know, Las Vegas Raiders, LA Rams, whatever have you. They hang out with each other all the time. It's like they're like, hey, yeah, we're on the field, we're competition with one another, but off the field, a lot of times they connect and they create businesses together. You know, their families know each other. People don't realize that, and it's the same thing with people when it comes to politics and whatnot. On TV, they'll make it look like they despise each other, but when the cameras go away and whatnot, if they really despise each other to that effect, then what we saw happen back in January of 2021 would happen more often than we would think. So as far as people rioting capitals and whatnot and taking over Capitol buildings, that would happen more so if the country was truly divided on that aspect. There's people that are working, they have to look divided, but they have to work together as a collective to ensure things get done properly, you know, because if not, then there would just be anarchy all over the place. All right. So that's why, you know, like the today's topic with Brittany Griner and whatnot. I don't wish any unfair things to happen on anybody. I've already made my statement about, you know, about her situation, and you know, I wish her the best. You know, I don't want to see anybody have to spend a day in a Russian hellhole of a prison or whatnot. But when it comes to getting emotional in a lot of these things with when it comes to a lot of these celebrities and athletes, and I just ask this, I don't care what the race is, the background is, I'm talking about celebrities and athletes, people that make more money, what they've worked hard to get to where they've gotten to, but they make more money than your average Joe in today's world. But when something bad happens to them, majority of the times they're the first one that want to come. They need you to come to their rescue, but they're not going to come to your rescue if you're in, you know, if you're in a situation. I saw a post on Facebook today, and I was like, you know, this is real. It showed Donald Duck sleeping in a bed picture, and the meme, he said, if I was serving 9 years in jail, this is what Brittany Griner would be doing. And I was like, 9 times out of 10, I'd have to tend to agree with that statement. Like, if I was in jail, would Michael Jordan come to my rescue? Would LeBron James come to my rescue? You know? And I can't answer that question for you. I'm not telling you how to think. I'm just saying this is how I look at it. If I was in jail for 9 years in a foreign country, would one of these celebrities or athletes come to my rescue? It could be yes. Most likely it's no. When it comes to the yes, it's like, it might be this. But when it comes to the no, it's pretty big like this. And I'm just keeping it real in that aspect, you know. So, and that might hurt some people's feelings. But if you intellectualize the situation, you don't have to really overanalyze the situation when I made in that specific context and whatnot. Would somebody like that in that position, who makes more money than you, who doesn't know you, Adam, because I didn't know who Brittany Griner was until the situation happened, because I don't watch sports. If you watch my content, you know I usually don't talk about celebrities unless they're making boss moves and whatnot. And the boss, not only the boss moves that they're making, but they're making bigger boss moves that's actually employing people within the community. So therefore, they're doing more things than politicians will ever do. You know, like that situation in Atlanta with the noise ordinance nonsense and whatnot. And how, you know, T-Pain and Killer Mike and the owner of Magic City are like, hey, are other businesses going to be targeted this way? Because if not, then obviously there's some discrimination going on around here. All right, you know, because even other local business owners of various different races were saying the same thing. Hey, is this for all businesses or just only certain businesses? Because if that's not the case, then we might have to look at the situation differently. You know. So, anyways, at the end of the day, that's all I have to say in that aspect. You know, it's interesting, but because these people like that, they actually employ people. You know, like I went to the Trap House in Atlanta, Georgia, and I saw by watching EYL University's story. EYL University's InvestFest. Like, I'm definitely going there next year in Atlanta. But I got to see it via Zoom over the weekend. And one thing that I got to see with T.I. is that he talked about when he bought the Trap House, that he just bought that property because it was of the location. He didn't know what he was going to do with it. He figured he might just sell it because the value was going to increase because it was down the street from downtown Atlanta and minutes away from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium and whatnot. And then he created a Trap House. It was just going to be a temporary thing, and now it's been open for, he said, 5 years now. I thought that was a great story. But at the end of the day, when I went to the Trap House, 100% of the employees were African Americans. And I'm sure that was not discrimination or anything of that nature, because Atlanta's a very black city. But 100% of the employees, I saw one person of another race employed at this business. And I was just amazed by this. Now, is this being racist? Absolutely not. Because you see this in the Asian community, you see this in the Middle Eastern community, you see this in the Hispanic community. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a family-owned business, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to hire people that are of your family or of your ethnicity, especially if one specific language is going to be spoken in that business. You know, I've been to Spanish restaurants, Asian restaurants, Middle Eastern restaurants where 95 to 100% of the staff is employed by them. You know, I've seen that. It's not discrimination, especially small family businesses, and the Trap House is a family business. So, from the security detail to the bartender to the people cooking, because you had a lot of vendors there as well, the barbecue pits and whatnot, and, the vendors, all black. So that's why I say a lot of times celebrities who have their own businesses, they get my respect more than politicians do, because they are actually doing something that the politicians are not trying to do, whether it's Democrat or Republican. They're actually creating jobs. They're putting their money, because when you have a business, you are taking a risk. That's why the government, regardless of who's sitting in the White House, governor's house, and mayor's house, is going to give you more tax benefits and give you more subsidies and whatnot, because they know owning a business, regardless of what scale it is a very big risk and whatnot, and there's no 100% guarantee. That's why the government wants to incentivize people to do that. And they have programs, Small Business Administration, to help other small businesses flourish, and to get access to capital. So that's a beautiful thing. And then the IRS rewards business owners. So that's a beautiful thing. I'm not going to get too into the weeds because I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA, and I'm not going to act like one. But the moral of that story is they're providing jobs. All those names I just mentioned, they're providing jobs in the communities that they came from. Whether you agree with how they do it, it's still a legal process. So they're putting their money where their mouth is and whatnot, instead of just coming to the community once or twice, once a year or once every couple of years. We need your votes. And what are you going to do for us? No, nothing. We're just going to give you a good speech. And after you vote for us, we'll, ensure that we have jobs, and, then it's business as usual. So I get and respect that. When you put your money where your mouth is, it's a whole different story. Like I said, it's like who you do business with, who you spend your money with, who you spend your money with, who you bank with, holds way more power than who you vote for. I've said that 1,000 times, and I mean that. So it's like, that's why I said, I don't need to know your politics. I need to know your economics. You know, even T.I. is like, yeah, he's like, I'm done with politics, because he's like, one, it was affecting business, and then two, he noticed how the politicians were just using him in certain specific situations. So he's like, you know what, I'm done. I just need to focus on business, make sure my family's good, make sure my economics are good. I'm trying to become a comedian on the side and put myself in a better economic position so that I can have more businesses. Therefore, I can create more jobs. It's like, I just put my money where my mouth is instead of putting my money where my vote is. And I really respect that, because there's more power in that than a vote. Because there's a lot of communities that never vote, but they just write checks. And that's the American way. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. You know? Some people, I remember hearing the owner of 7-Elevens, 5 to 7-Elevens. He's like, my family never vote. He's like, we just write checks to the politicians, like, ensure that, we get the tax write-off so we can continuously flourish as a business. I love it. So anyways, speaking of business and working, Rick Ross, who gave a stellar performance and had a stellar message closing out InvestFest for EY University, says, you got to outwork me to survive around me. I respect that. For me, the last 2 years, the best thing about this pandemic is I've been away from a certain mindset that wants to remain stagnated. I love that. Two, I've gotten rid of a lot of dead weight in my life, whether it's friends or family, whatever. I've gotten rid of a lot of dead weight because, like, I've been around people that they're like, yeah, I can't wait to go home so I can take a nap and whatnot. And I'm like, I can't wait to go home so I can work on my business. I don't want to be around the mindset of people that just want to take naps and whatnot. So, it's like, I can't wait for the weekend to come so I can just binge on Netflix and play video games. I don't want to be around people that want to binge on Netflix and play video games only. I'm good. I want to be around people who want to work and be productive. Okay, so I agree with that Rick Ross statement. You got to outwork me to survive around me. Yeah, because I wanted, like, when I went to the Black Business Expo in Fredericksburg, I got to meet some great contacts and whatnot. I was around a lot of great people. Like, this is why I wish I was at, like, I wouldn't have went to Houston. I would never booked my trip to Houston if I would have remembered about InvestFest. By the time I was reminded about InvestFest, with EY University, I already booked my trip to Houston. So I already know this time next year, I will be going to Atlanta for InvestFest, because I want my travels now to be more about not just exploring and having fun, but about business and making connections and networking. Because I want the kind of men and women around me who are about business and investments. It's cool that you're about family. That's normal stuff. You have a family, be about your family. That's been happening since the beginning of time. Since before there was running water and before there was electricity, people have been raising families before there were hospitals and health insurance. So having a family and taking care of your family and loving your family, it's a very normal thing. Good for you. That's what you're supposed to do. I know I'm not married and I don't have kids, but it's normal stuff to want to love your children and to love your spouse. That's just a normal thing, and I commend anybody who does it. But if that's the only conversation that one has, then I can't really build with you. That's just me keeping it real. But I want to be around the workers. I want to be around the go-getters. Whether you work hard as an employee, where you have a job, you got a side hustle, that means hopefully you're doing that just so you can save money and invest more money. You're not just doing that to survive. Because unfortunately, a lot of decisions people made as teenagers and in their 20s, they have to do that in order for them to survive. And I get it. I'm not knocking. I'm not talking trash about anybody. But, like I said, my 20s was about working. I was working 3 jobs. Started off with 2 jobs, then ended up with 3 jobs for a couple of years. Because I never wanted to be that person and be like, I can't afford that. I never wanted to be that person. I cannot tell you how many times I would see people, they have an issue with their vehicle. And this is back in my 20s. And they could not afford to fix it. So the vehicle had to sit dormant in their driveway or on the side of a road somewhere until they were able to be able to have enough money to fix it. I remember even having a roommate who every time he had a car issue, his car would be out of commission and he'd have to wait for, hey, we've all had those backdoor mechanics, but he'd have to wait months for his backdoor mechanic to get down there. So he'd only have to buy the parts, but he'd get the free labor. So that is, it's just like with that, it's like, I never wanted to be in that position in life. So that's why I always say make money moves a liberal like a fool, because a lot of, especially in my 20s, a lot of my brethren and my peers, they were, all they were doing was chasing tail and partying and whatnot. I didn't even start enjoying nightlife until my mid to late 20s, because in my early 20s, I was grinding it out. I had the energy, I had the time. I was about my business. I was about work, because the only way I knew how to make money was via a job, not like now I'm doing online with people give me donations via the Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo, or buy products and whatnot. But yeah, that was my early 20s. I wasn't focused on any of the other stuff. And now that we live in the height of the information age, like I wish my early 20s would have consisted of me having more access to this information like we do now. Because I tell you, I think I'd be way further ahead in life, economically, and intellectually right now, if I would like. So I commend the younger people in their teens and 20s growing up in this generation. Do not waste your time chasing females, chasing men, chasing whatever. Do not waste your time just binging on these freaking television shows and movies. It ain't that serious. Be about your business, be about your health, and be about your wealth. And then if you want to have a family, once you get yourself established, then go from there. Okay? Fight against not getting pregnant as a teenager in your early 20s. Unless you're rich, it's a different story. But if you get starting out in the game, fight against that. Okay? Get yourself established economically. There's too many people in my age group, I'm about to be 40, where they got to live at their parents' house because they can't afford to live anywhere else. Okay. And I'm not knocking that, but it's because 9 times out of 10, it's because they had a bunch of kids that they could not afford. Okay. And I commend the people who had kids when they were young, but they are about the business and they can stand on their own 2 feet. So I commend it, but I know it makes it harder. So that's what I'm just saying. Put yourself in a position to where you can outwork everybody, but and be around people who are about that business, not about the foolishness, because who you hang out with is very, very important all at the same time. Trust me on that one. All right. So do the great 3 free things: like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Don't forget to check out my online store. And if you're a stock market investor, a crypto investor, individual retirement account investor, don't forget to check out all the descriptions in the link, and with WEBULL, Stash, Acorn, all that great stuff. You have the opportunity to make some money once you are signed up for those programs and all that great stuff. And thank you guys for the donations. Thank you for the new subscribers. And hey, let's make some money moves. All right. And don't forget to check out the shirt. It says I don't do drama. In the back of it says I do business, because that's my mantra. That's how I look at it. And I think we need and this weekend reminded me of that more so by going to the Black Business Expo. By attending, I was multitasking and attending EWOW University's InvestFest on Zoom. So it was great. I was listening to that on the way to the event. I was listening to some of it during the event. Then I would turn them off. And then when I went back home, I was listening to it and listened to it the rest of the day. And then on Sunday, it was all dedicated to listening to EWOW University's InvestFest, because it was a great atmosphere. I can't wait to go physically be there, because that's the kind of energy I want to be around. From here on into the day I die, I want to be around energy of men and women who are about business. If you're about family, that's already guaranteed number one. I'm talking about the extra layers. If you're about business and investments and improvement, not just about being basic and following celebrity gossip and, having the mindset of an 18-year-old stuck in a 35-year-old's body. I'm not with that program. All right. So do the great 3 free things: like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. And as I always say, make money moves, or you're going to live, bro, like a fool. Take care.